There we go. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Lora podcast. I believe this is episode 9. So we're getting pretty deep in numbers, almost double digits. And I wanted to bring on one of the first podcasts that I did was with this man, Mike Larkin. And it was just a really good and deep conversation. So I was like, hey, I would love to have you on my podcast sometime once I figure out how to do podcasts. And so I figured it out, and here we are.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be on your show. I was so happy to have you on the LFC podcast and the On the Mic with Mike series. So it's a pleasure to do your podcast. You do a lot of great work. And for me, it's just a friend talking to another friend. So thank you.
Yeah. I feel like those are the best type of episodes, really. I feel like that's what people want to hear, not like, necessarily something contrived or like, here's every single question that I'm going to ask you, and so you can prepare your answers.
Absolutely. I think with my platform, I always like to provide a mixed bag. Like, it's serious, but at the same time, we're at the end of the day, we're people. So let's have a fun conversation,
Yeah. So I actually feel like what I wanted to delve into a little bit initially is something a little different that I haven't talked about much before. So more the mental health, mental well-being side of the industry, because I think I feel like the industry not only tends to sort of draw a little more emotionally fragile people. I'm not exactly sure why, but there seems to be a somewhat higher percentage of I don't know, bipolar type disorder within models, travel models that I work with. And, wonderful people, but they struggle with that pretty regularly. And, normally they're quite vocal about it too, which is cool. And I know that you have had some of your own type of things that you have been working through and seem to be doing wonderfully well with. And so maybe you could give a little bit of personal account of what that looks like, because I have no, what I mean? I have no personal bearing on any of this.
So it's a matter of sometimes a lot of us get in our own heads, right? But also at the same time, you feel as if like your surroundings are against you when they're really not. But also at the same time, it's like, you really don't know how I feel. You know what I'm saying? How can you tell me how I'm feeling when you're not living it? You're not in my shoes. And for me, it was just a case of I dealt with a lot of stuff. There was some family stuff going on, and there were some personal demons that I was going through. And I went about it the wrong way. What I did was I'm an epileptic, right? So I take levodopa and lamotrigine. So I mixed medicine that I should not have mixed with, that. And I'll be honest with you, what I mixed was hydroxycuts, which is stuff that you would take.
Yeah.
Yep. For epileptics, it's not a good thing. I was moody. I was cranky. A lot of stuff I don't even remember, but I just kept taking it because it made me feel good. I'm constantly on the go. The adrenaline's going. But at the same time, that's not the way to look at it. And I think a lot of people dive into that because it makes them feel good, but they don't realize the consequences that can surround them, not just for themselves, for the people around them. And a lot of people extract themselves from their lives. So I think for me, my solace was always my religion and my faith. And I think that was the one thing that really, deterred me away from that, was just, it's like, God dang, man, I'm losing my faith. You know what I'm saying? Not only am I losing myself, but I'm losing my faith, because I grew up, man, my uncle was very religious. My mom used to teach Sunday school for a little bit. And for me, it was just being surrounded by, God always providing me the platform to do what I do and giving me the blessings that I have with my family and friends. And I was steering away for that. So for me, it was a lot of self-reflection, which I think a lot of people need to do. Just meditate, calm down. But at the same time, just, get right with yourself and know that you are worth it and that you have a purpose, and your purpose will be succeeded and you will continue to progress.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. Yeah. I think everyone needs something that they care about more than themselves. I think that is just crucial to every single human being in the entire world. And I don't think anyone is mentally healthy without that, for sure. Even if it's, a couple of neighbors that you're best friends with, if maybe a lot of your family has passed away or whatnot. Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. Or maybe it's a bunch of your, industry friends that you become really, really incredibly close with. Especially if you become estranged due to this type of a profession, which, I mean, who knows if that has a link into some of the higher amounts of, issues than usual. Because I know a lot of people, when they are outed, it causes a lot of, some of their families just straight up just cut them off. Like you're not ours anymore, which.
Yeah, and thinking about it too, like for me, my family, like I said, and for me, I love my family to death. I love my mother, I love my father, but my father, and I'll always say this, and he knows this, he's always had an anger issue. You know what I'm saying? He's dealt with anger issues a lot, and I think what that is, sometimes you need to realize, like you do realize, like your words do have an impact on people, not just your son, but around people around you. And he's a straight up businessman, but it's like it's unhealthy to have that. And he's a very successful at what he does, but it's like, it's very unhealthy to always be angry at the time, all the time. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, not just in a parent or a child or what have you, just people in general. It's like holding in that type of anger. Sometimes you need to speak up and say what you need to say, but also at the same time, it's like, you have your life. You woke up this morning, and it may be the most minuscule thing, Laura, but you woke up, you're brushing your teeth, you're eating, and then you're going out into the world. Just be happy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think one of the biggest myths, especially in America, is that you are your own person and you don't affect everything else, because we just, by existing, we affect everyone that we're around all day. We affect the environment, whether we recycle, we don't recycle. We affect, the environment on what sort of plants we decide to plant in our landscaping. If we decide to keep the tree or cut the tree down, or what sort of products we buy and how much waste we make. So people just thinking that their choices and their moods and the way they are don't affect other people is a complete myth. Like we're not, we're independent, like we get to make our own choices, but they affect absolutely everything. And that's just how it is. What was that movie, like The Butterfly Effect?
Butterfly.
Yeah. Feel like that's a good throw out right here.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you look at the depiction of that movie where he's just like, he gets in his own thoughts. He's going back to a time that he wishes he could recreate. And it's very apparent because a lot of us in our lives wish that we could recreate some times and moments. But unfortunately, those time and moments have passed, and it's up to us how we move onward and upward to how we can, leave that in the past behind us and just continue to make it new. And I look at it from a stance too, as well. Sometimes the past can help us. And for me, my past was, I've always knew when I was a very upbeat, energetic, nerdy kid from Long Island. And I'll say that here right now, what I'm saying? I was the biggest nerd. I used to collect a lot of Backstreet Boys and Britney Spears stickers going to the Pathmark. I used to love to do it. That's what I loved. And that's what I enjoyed. Pop culture was my thing. Professional wrestling was my thing. And that was always what I tell people. Just be yourself and just always go out there and just be who you are. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't being who I was. I was becoming another person. I think sometimes we have to, we feel like we have to change with society and the times, but it's like, the end of the day, if you're happy being you, then why flip the script, so to speak,
So did you start having some of the trouble when you were trying to be who you thought that society wanted you to be, or some social pressures, or what was that?
So for me, I look at it from a stance too. Like I've been doing this for 6 years, the podcasting thing, right? And I love it. I've gotten to work with a lot of amazing people. I'm looking at one of them now.
Oh,
Uh,
thanks.
you're very welcome. No, but it's just like I'm not just a podcaster. Like, you know what I'm saying? I come onto this and I'm happy and I am. I mean, I'm doing my thing and I love it, but I'm just like, there's more to me. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't understand like what I'm going through. You know what I'm saying? You don't understand like I'm actually a normal person. Like, and it's just that the stress of this, sometimes you get burnt out with this. And it
Right.
was just for me, like again, like some stuff that was going on with home. Just for me, yeah, that was mainly like it. It's like I'm more to this than just what you see in front of a camera or microphone. But I'm like, yeah, it was that and just the burnout. And for me, it's just like really realizing because you think what's negative is actually a positive. And I'm like, you know what? This is cool because I get to help people. And I've always said this, and I say this with my inspiring through words and actions and touching people's hearts. And I mean, I think that's the heart, pun intended, of the matter. So, I mean, that was more for me, like the burnout and just like, you know what, man, I'm more to this. Actually, look at me as a human being, you know?
Yeah, no, I think that that makes complete sense. I also think that people shouldn't be afraid to take a break, like if
Right.
you need it. Just, you know, if you are going down a bad road, you feel that burnout. I even think, and especially like, I mean, I know right around maybe the end of November, I just got done traveling for the majority of, 5 or 6 months or whatever. And I was like, man, I'm wiped.
Mhm.
I was like, I just, you just sort of have to have like that way extra action, like activation energy to get started in the day. And I was like, man, I need a freaking break. You know what I mean? So I just saw what I could reschedule like further down. And I was like, I'm gonna go on a vacation. I'm not allowed to work. I'm not allowed to. I like let people know I'm like not really gonna be texting very much. Love y'all though. Love you.
You have to be like that. And I think what's great about it too is like, no, I've had that where it's like, yo, I don't want to go on social media. I don't want to text anybody. It's like plain out, just leave me alone. Let me have this vacation. Let me have time in myself and let me have the peace of mind. We all go through it. So no, I don't blame you. That's how you have to look at it. It's like you're not being a dick.
Yeah.
Like I need my space, right?
Right. Yeah, yeah. No, that's exactly right. And yeah, and I took like another full almost 2 weeks right at Christmas, which was really cool. Like, I mean, I literally didn't do anything but just like work out and hang out with family, and that was it.
But that's the simple moments and that's the time that we need is with our families. So absolutely. That's how it's got to be.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was great. We like one of the kids got laser tag, and that was really cool. Like he
I
got like this kick butt like laser tag set for like 4 people. So we would just switch up like tournaments, this team of four, this team of four. And then anyways, I just thought that was neat. Like everybody took part in this ridiculous outdoor laser tag thing. Like I don't know how many families get to do that.
But no, it's the simple things. I mean, I wasn't the laser tag kid and I love laser tag, but for me, just going out in the backyard, have the basketball hood up, just shooting hoops and just, just chilling like that or riding a bike. That was my simple things. You know what I'm saying? Just shooting hoops, riding a bike. I was happy. So I get that laser tag. And that's what a lot of people even do a lot of nowadays because we're so stifled with the video games and that's cool. It's like, let's actually go outside. You know what I'm saying? Nobody goes outside.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, cool. Yeah. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about LFC, lingerie fighting. Well, I'll let you introduce. Tell me about LFC and tell me how you got involved and just sort of your story there.
So as far as LFC, for those that don't know what it is, it's Lingerie Fighting Championships. And I'm just going to say this now because I am on your show. You, my friend, are a prospect. So you can check out Lora Cross's profile on lingeриefc.com. Yes, there it is. So for me, it's a stance of it's women's mixed martial arts. It was like it started as a mockumentary for like UFC, and Sean Donnelly, the CEO, is amazing at what he does. So shout out to Sean. It started as a mockumentary, and then it became this big thing around 2015. And doing my research finish on it. It's funny because I had interviewed Ali Parker, who has done sessions wrestling and professional wrestling. And as I was doing notes and really preparing for the interview, I saw this character, Ali Baby Doll Parks. And then I really did more into LFC and looking into it. I'm like, now, this is pretty cool because, there is women's mixed martial arts like you have Invicta, which is Shannon Knapp's promotion. There's women UFC. And I'm like, this is a nice interpretation of sex appeal and professional wrestling mixed with MMA. And it's cool and has that reality show vibe to it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what? This is not bad. And also it coincides with the session world because a lot of girls that are in LFC are sessions wrestlers. So I'm like, I want to dive into this more. So I started interviewing talent such as there was one Serena Honey Punch Kyle. She's sweet as honey, but she packs a hell of a punch. And there were people like Jesse El Toro Santos and Danielle Cowbell St. Pierre and so many on-screen figures and Sean Donnelly himself. So I'm like, you know what? I want to keep doing more of these. And by the time we got forward, they needed an official podcast host. And I had talked about it, but, it finally came into fruition around the 2019 time period. And Beauty, Strength, and Dominance was born. And it's funny because the name, and I say this with a lot of and I'm not going to try to get emotional here, but god dang, man, it does hit me in the hearts because my mother is my biggest influence in my life. Is one of the strongest females that I know. And the Beauty, Strength, and Dominance moniker is Beauty, Strength, and Dominance, the three key elements that make women the work of art that they are. And I wanted to have a female empowerment mindset. And that's where
I think that's awesome. And I think you are very very pro female empowerment, and it's very, very obvious. And I guess I've never really thought about it, but the session world largely is that, to be honest.
It is.
I guess that's why I love it so much. I really thought about it.
Jennifer Thomas and I had this conversation, who is Jenny Bloody Valentine in LFC. Jen's like, well, it's like LFC is pretty much like session girls. And I'm like, it is, if you really think about it.
Yeah, I just think I love that it involves on an actual real time a performance. It's it's acrobatic. It's acting. It's they have all of this choreography, and I think that it's really, really impressive. And I think it's really awesome and fun. It's so complicated,
Agreed. And I look at it from a stance too, for those that are naysayers of it. I mean, if you look at the alumni that have come from LFC, Roxy Roundhouse Michaels, who was Renee Michelle, and she's doing her thing on All Elite Wrestling and all around. We've had Shelly Martinez, who was in WWE. There's talents that are the array and really of the wide variety of, here's WWE, here's TNA, here's Ring of Honor, here's the independent wrestling scene. We have it from everybody. There's a conglomerate that you've seen on TV that have participated in LFC. And I mean, besides session girls and everything in general, there's people that have done adult work. It's a variety for everybody. And that's what we need in things, variety.
Yeah, I completely agree. And man, you got to be an athlete to do all that. You got to be an athlete, like flexible and a lifter, and you know what I mean? Great body awareness, part gymnast.
Well, that's the thing I always tell people. Don't come into it thinking it's just girls rolling around in lingerie, and they don't realize the fitness and the finesse and everything that goes into it. I mean, it's you have to be in the right amount of shape. You have to go in there and make sure everything is up from your cardio and everything. Pretty much I say, to put it bluntly to you, Laura, don't come in here and bullshit. Don't come here and pussyfoot. Just come. If you're serious about this, be serious. Don't fuck around with it. To put it bluntly, don't fuck around with it.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, your partners out there are depending on you, to be able to perform the moves and keep them safe as well as yourself.
Absolutely. And I think as someone I do the podcast for, but I'm also very serious on people who I interview, because again, though I love giving people the platform to tell their stories. And for me, always with interviewing, it's about accommodation and comfortability. And I want to make my guests feel comfortable. And I look at it from a stance too, as well. It's if you're going to come on here and be meh about it, I don't want to work with you. You know what I'm saying? And I'll say that because if people don't have the passion and they don't have that fire that they see with the LFC product and don't really have that same vision that it is, I mean, it's just then why are you wasting my time? You know what I'm saying? I don't be mean, but it's why are you wasting my time?
Yeah, I was super bummed. They LFC had an opening, um and I got emailed to be able, to ask for me to come fill in, and I really wanted to. And I was like on a tour,
Oh,
with like all these deposits paid, and I can't just be like later.
no, I completely understand, but I'm sure we'll be on we'll see each other at an LFC event. I mean, I was
Yeah.
the announcer for the last one. I can't wait to meet you and give you a big old hug.
Yeah, I was super bummed though.
I don't blame you, but at the same stance, Laura, I gotta say, I always say trust the process and the journey, and that journey will lead you to LFC. And personally, I think you're going to be a great fit for what you do in the sessions world and your overall vibrancy and your cadence. I think you'll do very well.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna tell you, I got to work with Gillian Hex.
Yo, nice.
She's so cool. Like, she's so cool. She's such a good actress. And she's fit, and she's strong. Yeah, she's just whole package, like total triple threat.
He is one of my absolute favorites. A very intense performer and a very entertaining performer inside the
Yeah.
LFC and the LFC auspices. But outside that ring, she is probably one of the most sweetest people in the world. Much love to Jolene.
Yeah, absolutely. She has a great sense of humor too. It was like right around Halloween time, and I don't know how we got onto it, but we started sending each other topless selfies with the scariest mask we could find back and forth. Like,
Love that. I love that.
I don't know why.
Well, that sounds like something Jolene would do. And I look at it from a stance too as well. Not only is she entertaining in that stance, one of the funniest things she ever told me was, it's like, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to kick your butt, but hey, you want to go out for ice cream after that? I'm like, that's nice. You give them a little sourness, but then you get them sweet. You're like a Sour Patch all wrapped in one.
I think I know how that started. I think I had asked her, like, hey, can I get a contact photo? And she sent me a
Oh my goodness.
So, anyways, that was hilarious. That is her contact photo, though. I followed through. but yeah. What else was I gonna say? Oh, me and Sarah Brooke are gonna be shooting in March. So put that on the calendar. We're just gonna call for customs and see what we get and shoot all night.
Oh my goodness, I'm smiling about that. That's a double team right there. That's a tag team. You and Sarah Brooks, Sarah the Beast Brooke. Nice.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's gonna be brave enough to try to get a double session, because I think they might die.
I mean, as someone who has seen Sarah not just from the cat fighting side of things in the sessions, what she did in LFC against Lauren the Animal Fogel, with me, Annabella, and with so many people that she got to work during the Sturgis event, as well as LFC in Las Vegas back at
Yeah.
LFC 31. Girl's a beast, and she brings it, and I love it.
Yeah, she really freaking is. Like, she is my most intense fight, like, to date. The me and Sarah, like, real cat fight. That's just, it was so evenly matched. It was just crazy. Like, and we both had just a ridiculous pain tolerance, and like our egos just as big as like our pain tolerance. We're like, we can't submit.
That's some of the stuff that really makes for a lot of great matchups and fights, because it's the overall thing where you're trying to tell a story, and that's what combative nature is. You're telling a story through your emotions and your body parts, and it showcases through everything that you work over with the systematic dissection, the joint manipulation, and how at the same time you're having fun all in the process. So that's what really makes it worth it. So I love it.
Yeah, definitely. So what is on the horizon for you in 2022?
For me, just to do like I did at the last LFC 35 Booty Camp 3D on Halloween, do some more ring announcing. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I felt like Ricky Bobby holding that mic. I don't know what to do with my hand. You know what I'm saying? After his first race, I was nervous, because usually I'm in front of the camera, I got my mic here and we're doing podcasts, but I'm like,
Right.
man, like, you don't realize. Yeah, and this is And this is live on pay-per-view, Laura. It's live on pay-per-view and you're on demand and it's the website. But it was great because for me, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is one of the most touching stories I had at the event. Tommy Bell, who's a great artist, follow him on Instagram at Tommy Bell Art. He was a judge at the event, right? Tommy comes in, he's all smiles, he's nervous, and I shake his hand and he looks at me and he goes, you know, Mike, it's an honor to shake your hand. And I'm like, that right there, here's why I touch in my heartstrings. Again,
Dang.
growing up as a young kid, Long Island, New York, nerdy kid. I'm just a dude that likes wrestling and pop culture. And I think you start to realize it's like, man, like what you do has an effect and it brings and evokes emotions out of people. So that really touched my heart, and just hugging all those girls and seeing them and just the smiles. It took it all in, being at that FSW arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. So that was a hell of a time. So that is what I'm looking forward to in 2022. More ring announcing, more podcasting, and really just living, just living my life.
Heck yeah. Well, would you mind shouting out where everyone can find you and your podcast and all of your work, learn a little more about you?
Yes, ma'am. So you guys can check me out, StephenMikeShow.com. It's the old S&M Show podcast network. Steve and I started it back in 2015. It's the Steve and Mike Show. We're laughing, we're singing, we're dancing, we're talking about things that are happening in current affairs. I got On the Mic with Mike on there, which you can hear this lovely face right over here on there, where I interview people of all facets of life, from the adult entertainment industry, session industry, wrestling industry. Hell, I've had people that I grew up watching on Nickelodeon, like Christy Owings from all that. For me, it's stuff like, thank you. It's stuff like that really makes me happy. You know what I'm saying? Giving people the platform to tell their stories. And LFC, it's lingerieFC.com. It's lingerieFC.com/podcast, where you can get the Beauty, Strength, and Dominance podcast. Audio platforms, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and of course on my YouTube, just type in Mike Larkin and it'll be on the YouTube, which also you can see this lovely face on the LFC podcast, shouting out you, Lora Cross. And now we're on Roku. Type in the LFC network, download it on your Roku streaming device, where you can see, and I'm pointing at you again, this podcast that Laura and I did for LFC, and so many great focuses. We're on Roku. And if I ever told what I told you, I thought I was on Roku, I would have told you were nuts back in the day. But no, there's a lot of great stuff going on. And I'm so excited, exuberant to tell people at SM Show 1, MCL92 on Twitter. I'm an easy find. Just say hello, send me a message, and I'll talk to you. I'm very easy to converse with. And M Larkin, MB, and Larkin _92 on Instagram. There's a lot of links, and I'll send them over to Laura. So you all can
that'd be perfect. I'll just post them all.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. I make sure to make myself accessible in all different forms of social media, not just for my work, but if anybody needs to talk, I'm an easy listener. My DMs are always open. So I love helping people.
Yeah. Well, cool. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap?
I do. I just want to say thank you so much for having me. And I definitely want to do a round 2 on your podcast and just come on. And we'll definitely do another one on the LFC podcast in the future this year, which I'm looking forward to, because you always got a lot going on. And it's always a great time talking to you. As I said, I've had a blast doing this. And I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. I hope you all enjoy my work, support myself, support Miss Lora Cross, and just keep on living. And let's rock it in 2022.
Let's rock it in 2022.